A terrified child's scream shattered the Thursday night calm at the Devil's Road clubhouse. "Help! They're beating my mama." Marcus, Reaper, Stone dropped his beer mid-sip, the bottle hitting the wooden table with a dull thunk. He spun around to see a small figure burst through the door. A little girl, maybe 7 years old, barefoot with scraped knees and wild, terrified eyes. Her pink pajamas were torn at the shoulder, her brown hair tangled and stuck to her tear-streaked face. She was gasping for breath, having clearly run hard and fast. The clubhouse fell silent. 12 leather-clad bikers, mid-conversation and mid-drink, froze as the child stumbled forward, her small chest heaving. Marcus was on his knees in an instant, his massive tattooed hands surprisingly gentle as he reached toward her. "Easy, sweetheart. Breathe. Tell me what's wrong. Who's hurting your mama?" "Men with masks." The words tumbled out between sobs. "They broke into our apartment. They're yelling at Mama, hitting her, looking for something. She told me to run and hide, but I heard her screaming." Her whole body shook. "Please, they're hurting her so bad." "Where do you live, baby?" Marcus asked, his voice steady despite the rage already building in his chest. The girl pointed down the street with a trembling hand. "The red brick building, apartment 3B, please, you have to help her." Every biker in that clubhouse stood at once. 12 Hell's Angels ready for war. Marcus barked orders with military precision. "Tiny, call 911. Snake, grab the med kit. We roll now. Hammer, you." No, the little girl grabbed Marcus's leather vest with both hands, her fingers digging into the worn material. "I'm coming. Mama needs to see me, to know I got help." Marcus looked down at her desperate face and saw something that made his chest tighten. The same fierce determination he'd seen in another little girl's eyes years ago when it was already too late. He made a decision. "All right, but you stay behind me. Always, understand." She nodded, and he took her small hand in his scarred, tattooed one. They moved as a unit down the dark street, their boots echoing on the pavement like war drums. The girl, still clutching Marcus's hand, had to jog to keep up with their long strides, but she never complained, never slowed them down. As they approached the red brick apartment building, they heard it, crashing. A woman's muffled screams. Male voices shouting threats. Marcus signaled his crew with practiced hand gestures. Tiny and Bear peeled off toward the fire escape. Snake covered the back door. The rest followed Marcus to apartment 3B. He didn't knock. One powerful kick and the door exploded inward, the frame splintering like kindling. Inside was chaos. 3 masked men froze mid-action. A woman, the girl's mother clearly, was on the floor, bloodied and trying to shield a small file box with her body. The apartment looked like a hurricane had torn through it. Drawers hung open, papers scattered everywhere, furniture overturned and broken. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. Time suspended. Then the largest intruder reached for something at his waist. The bikers erupted into motion. Tiny tackled one man before he could draw his weapon, driving him into the wall with bone-crushing force. Snake materialized from the kitchen, blocking another's escape route. Marcus advanced on the third intruder, the one standing directly over the woman. "Step away from her. Now." Marcus's voice was deadly calm, more terrifying than any shout. The intruder held a crowbar but faced 12 furious bikers. The crowbar clattered to the floor. "Mama, Mama, I got help. The angels came." The little girl broke free from Hammer and ran to her mother, throwing herself down beside her. The woman, Angela, Marcus would learn later, pulled her daughter close despite obvious pain. Her lip was split, one eye swelling shut, blood trickling from a gash on her forehead. But she was conscious, alive. The bikers restrained all 3 intruders with efficient, controlled force. No excessive violence, just overwhelming, undeniable control. Snake collected their weapons, a gun, 2 knives, and the crowbar. Marcus knelt beside Angela, his fingers automatically going to her neck to check her pulse. Years of Army medic training kicked in. "You're going to be okay? Ambulance is coming." What were they looking for? Angela's voice came out ragged, each word clearly painful. "Trevor, my ex-husband, sent them." She clutched the file box like a lifeline. "I have evidence, documents proving he's been embezzling from his company, plus all the restraining orders he's violated. I was supposed to testify next week. They wanted to destroy this." Something flickered in Marcus's eyes, recognition, pain, rage. "We've got it. They didn't get anything." Snake yanked the masks off the 3 intruders. Low-level thugs with hard faces and prison tattoos. Hired muscle, faced with 12 angry bikers and approaching sirens. One broke immediately. "Trevor Jameson paid us $5,000 to scare her, get the files, make her drop the custody case. He said she'd be alone. We didn't know about no kid." Angela's face crumpled. He knew Kimberly would be here. He didn't care if she saw. Sirens wailed outside. Multiple police cars and an ambulance screeched to a stop. Detective Lisa Chen entered with 6 officers, hands instinctively moving toward weapons at the sight of the bikers. But she recognized Marcus immediately. "Stone, what are you doing here?" "The kid came running to our clubhouse begging for help. We found these 3 beating her mother during a home invasion." Kimberly looked up at the detective, still holding her mother tight. "They were gonna kill my mama. Mr. Marcus and his friends saved us." One intruder tried to deflect. "They broke in here. We were just—" Detective Chen examined the scene with a practiced eye. The forced entry predated the bikers' arrival, clearly from the original break-in. Angela's injuries were already forming bruises, blood already drying. The weapons, the masks, the ransacked apartment told the story plainly. Angela handed over the file box with shaking hands. "Everything you need to arrest Trevor Jameson is in here. He orchestrated this." Paramedics loaded Angela onto a stretcher. Kimberly refused to let go of her hand. Marcus knelt beside the stretcher. "We'll follow you to the hospital. You're not alone in this." Through tears and pain, Angela whispered, "You don't even know us. Why would you?" "Because a brave little girl asked for help," Marcus said quietly. "And we don't ignore that, ever." Detective Chen approached as the ambulance pulled away. "We're putting out a warrant for Trevor Jameson immediately." Marcus exchanged a dark look with Snake as the ambulance disappeared into the night. They both knew the same truth. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. Real talk, if you believe bikers are the good people who step up when others won't, show some love. Drop a like, smash that subscribe button, and tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? And would you have run to a biker clubhouse for help? Let's build a community of people who recognize real heroes when they see them. 3 days later, Angela was healing in room 417 of Mercy General Hospital. The swelling around her eye had gone down, the gash on her forehead held together with neat stitches. But Kimberly hadn't left her side, and neither had the bikers. They'd set up a rotation. Someone was always there, standing guard. Marcus had been there every day, bringing Kimberly meals from the cafeteria, coloring books from the gift shop, silly jokes to make her laugh when the fear crept back in. Right now, she sat cross-legged on the vinyl chair beside her mother's bed, studying the tattoos on Marcus's forearms while Angela slept. "What's this one mean?" Kimberly pointed to an eagle with spread wings. "That's from my time in the Army. I was a medic, helped injured soldiers." "Like you helped my mama." "Yeah, baby girl like that." Her small finger moved to another tattoo, smaller, more delicate. A butterfly with a date beneath it. What about this one? Marcus's jaw tightened. He'd avoided this question for 3 days, but Kimberly's brown eyes held such innocent trust that he couldn't lie to her. That's for my daughter, Emma. She was 8 years old. Kimberly's voice went quiet. She died, sweetheart, her mother's boyfriend. He hurt her bad. I was deployed overseas when it happened. By the time I got home, by the time I knew what was going on, it was too late. His voice cracked. I wasn't there to protect her. Kimberly's small hand wrapped around his large, scarred one. That's why you came when I asked for help. You're making sure I don't lose my mama like you lost Emma. Tears welled in Marcus's eyes. This 7-year-old understood what grown men often couldn't. Yeah, baby girl, something like that. From the hospital bed, Angela's eyes were open, watching. She'd heard everything. She saw this intimidating biker, this man covered in leather and ink, hold her daughter's hand with infinite gentleness, and she understood. He wasn't just protecting them, he was healing himself. The door opened and Detective Chen walked in, her expression grim. We have a problem. Trevor Jameson evaded the warrant. His car was found abandoned near the Canadian border, but we got intel he never crossed. He's been spotted in the city. Marcus stood immediately. He's not running. No, Chen agreed. We think he's planning something desperate. I've doubled security on this floor, but hospital security isn't equipped for someone willing to die to get what he wants, Marcus finished. We'll handle it. 20 minutes later, Marcus stepped into the hallway to take a call from Snake. Hammer stood guard outside Kimberly's room, his massive frame blocking the doorway. That's when Jerry Morrison approached, a security guard Marcus had seen on shift before. Hey man, we got a situation in the parking garage. Need backup. Hammer hesitated, glancing back at Kimberly's room. It's just 2 minutes, Morrison insisted. The nurse can watch her. It was a mistake. Hammer asked a passing nurse to keep an eye on the playroom and followed the guard toward the elevators. Inside the pediatric playroom, Kimberly sat alone at a small table, drawing a picture of her mother surrounded by angels. Angels with motorcycles and leather vests. The door opened. A man in a delivery uniform stepped in, clipboard in hand. She looked up and her entire body went rigid. Daddy. Trevor Jameson's face was haggard, unshaven, his eyes wild with desperation. Hey, princess. Daddy's here to take you home. Mom said it's okay. Kimberly backed away from the table, her crayon clattering to the floor. You sent those men? You hurt Mama. Trevor's mask cracked. You little brat, this is all your fault. If you just kept your mouth shut, if you hadn't run to those bikers. He lunged forward, grabbing for her arm. Kimberly screamed. The sound pierced through walls, through floors, straight to Marcus's ears 3 levels down. He ran. Snake and Tiny were right behind him, their boots pounding on linoleum as they took stairs 3 at a time. Trevor had Kimberly by the arm, dragging her toward the exit. She fought like a wildcat, biting and kicking. Let me go. You're not my daddy anymore. Marcus burst through the playroom door. Trevor spun, yanking Kimberly into a chokehold, a knife appearing in his other hand and pressing near her throat. Snake and Tiny sealed the exits behind Marcus. Stay back, all of you. Trevor's voice was shrill, breaking. I'm taking my daughter and you can't stop me. Marcus raised his hands slowly, his voice dropping into that calm, authoritative tone he'd used in combat situations. Trevor, this is over. There are cops surrounding this hospital right now. You've got nowhere to go. Let Kimberly go and we'll talk. Talk? Trevor's laugh was unhinged. You ruined everything. That's my wife, my kid, my life. She was never yours to own. Marcus said, taking one careful step forward. You lost the right to call them yours when you decided to hurt them. Behind Trevor, Snake was moving slowly, silently, circling into position. I loved them, Trevor screamed. Love doesn't look like this, Marcus said. You say you love Kimberly, then prove it. Don't make her watch you get arrested while you're terrifying her. Let her remember you showed mercy just once. For a moment, Trevor's grip loosened. For a moment, Marcus thought he'd gotten through. Then Trevor's face twisted with rage and he lunged at Marcus with the knife, releasing Kimberly. Marcus moved with practiced precision. Sidestep. Grab the wrist. Twist. The knife clattered to the floor and Trevor went down hard, Snake pinning him face first against the tile. Tiny scooped up Kimberly immediately, turning her face into his shoulder so she wouldn't see her father subdued on the ground. The door exploded open. Detective Chen and 6 officers flooded in, weapons drawn. Behind them, 2 more officers dragged in Jerry Morrison in handcuffs. The corrupt security guard caught on camera leading Hammer away. As Trevor was cuffed, he screamed, I just wanted my family back. From Tiny's arms, Kimberly's voice rang out clear and strong. We were never your family. Family doesn't hurt each other. 2 weeks later, the courthouse was packed for Trevor Jameson's sentencing. The trial had been swift, overwhelming evidence, devastating testimony from Angela, the hired thugs turning on Trevor for reduced sentences. The jury took 40 minutes to convict on all counts. Trevor got 15 years, no parole eligibility for 10. Before the judge dismissed court, Kimberly stood up in the gallery. Marcus stood beside her, his hand on her shoulder. Your Honor, she said in her small, clear voice, I want to say something. Judge Harrison nodded. Go ahead, young lady. Real dads protect you. They don't scare you. Mr. Marcus showed me what daddies are supposed to be like. He saved my mama. He saved me. He's more family than... She gestured toward Trevor than he ever was. The courtroom erupted in applause. Even Judge Harrison allowed it. 5 years later, Kimberly Jameson graduated from middle school with honors. Angela sat in the front row beside her new husband, David, a gentle physical therapist she'd met during her recovery. But an entire row behind them was filled with 12 leather-clad bikers, cleaned up and proud. As student representative, Kimberly gave a speech about courage and family. When I was 7, I learned that family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the people who show up when you need them most. Sometimes angels wear leather and ride motorcycles. After the ceremony, she found Marcus in the crowd and presented him with a wrapped package. Inside was a framed photo. 7-year-old Kimberly holding his hand that terrible night next to a current photo of them together at her birthday party. The inscription read, You showed me what real strength looks like. Love, your Kimberly. Marcus pulled her into a fierce hug, tears streaming down his weathered face. Angela approached, her own eyes wet. You didn't just save our lives, Marcus. You gave us both back our futures. Kimberly wants to be a social worker now. She wants to help other kids in bad situations. Marcus smiled through his tears. She's already saved more people than she knows. The clubs helped relocate 32 families since that night. She inspired all of it. Kimberly looked up at him with shining eyes. Uncle Marcus, can I get a vest like yours someday? When you're old enough to ride, we'll make you an honorary member, he said. But you're already part of our family, kid. They gathered for a photo. Angela, David, Kimberly, and 12 Hell's Angels. Proof that family is made, not born. Proof that sometimes the most unlikely heroes answer when someone cries for help. As they walked to the parking lot, Kimberly rode on Marcus's shoulders. He thought of Emma, his butterfly.